Back everyone, let's go ahead and take a look at the Google Pixel 6a and compare it against the Google Pixel 5 and see how they both compare. Now I will definitely tell you both these phones are great. I think the Pixel 6a may be the better one in most areas, but the Pixel 5, if you can get it for a good value, I would recommend buying it too. If you want to pick up either one of these though for the cheapest prices I find, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, I think these phones are roughly around the same size. On the front of the Pixel 5, actually had a pretty good size 6-inch OLED display. It's a hole punch display, but the hole punch is on the top left corner. And overall, it looked pretty good. I didn't really have too many complaints about it when it first came out, mostly because this wasn't a budget phone, but it was cheaper than a lot of the other flagship offerings. And for this thing to be the only Pixel, there was no like Pixel XL or anything like that for this year. I think it looks pretty good. 90 Hz display on this thing as well. So that is definitely something big to keep in mind. If you're getting a phone like this, you're getting a 90 Hz here, whereas on the Pixel 6a, we're getting a 60 Hz panel, but it is a little bit bigger of a 6.1-inch OLED display. Now, personally, I don't think this is like a world-changing difference, like for this one being 0.1 inches bigger, but I will say the 90 Hz on the Pixel 5 is a really nice touch, and you are kind of missing that on something like the Pixel 6a. Don't think it's a crazy big deal, but it is one of those things to keep in mind. Now, in terms of the thickness and thickness, we're also seeing a little bit of a difference too. The Pixel 6 is a little bit thicker, I think. Now, both these are made out of aluminum, but the Pixel 6 just feels so much more premium. And for this thing to be kind of like the $449 budget phone of this year, and the Pixel 5 to be a little bit of a more expensive, not expensive back in 2020, but this thing is cheaper now in the used market, you are getting a much better feeling phone on the Pixel 6a than in the Pixel 5. On the back, we kind of have a little bit of a different setup as well. Fingerprint sensor on the back of the Pixel 5, when the Pixel 6a fingerprint sensor is in the display. Dual camera setup on the Pixel 5, full-on aluminum back. Pixel 6a, full-on glass back, which is a really nice touch. And the Pixel camera protrudes all the way to the back throughout the whole entire back. And I will definitely say that Pixel 6a, like I mentioned before, just looks so much more premium. And that is one of my favorite things about that type of phone. I didn't really think the Pixel 5 looked bad, but I do think the Pixel 6a looks so much better in my opinion. Now, there is wireless charging on the Pixel 5, no wireless charging on the Pixel 6a. I will say both USB Type-C ports, everything like that. I think body-wise though, the Pixel 6a still wins, but you are getting some cool features on the Pixel 5, like 90 Hz refresh rate and different things like that. Now, looking at the future of both these phones, the Pixel 5 is definitely going to be the one that isn't going to last as long as the Pixel 6a. Theoretically speaking, the Pixel 6a is going to last probably another year, but because both these phones are on stock Android, we should still expect to see quite a long future ahead of both these phones, which I think is really cool to see. Whenever we get a phone and it has like a longer future ahead of it than expected, I think that is a really cool thing, and I'm looking forward to both these phones in the future. With the Pixel 6a, this phone theoretically, like I said before, is going to last a little bit longer than the Pixel 5, probably by a year, but there's still going to be a development community behind this phone, and if you want to pick it up probably 5 years from now, there's probably still going to be some people who are rooting in and custom ROMing it, so you can probably still find custom ROMs for this thing in the future, but the Pixel 6a is going to beat it in terms of the actual, software longevity in terms of stock software. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The Pixel 5, when it came out, had a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset inside, an Adreno 620 GPU, and 8 GB of RAM, where the Pixel 6a, on the other hand, has that Google Tensor chipset, basically the same one as the Google Pixel 6, but it has 6 GB of RAM. So 2 GB of RAM less on this one than this one, so let's go and see which one is the faster one. Okay, we are back. So let's clear out. So I just cleared out all the apps in the background, as you guys can tell. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls. 3, 2, 1. And kind of the same thing on both, not that big of a difference. Let's do messages. 3, 2, 1. The Pixel 5 is here. The 6a is here, by the way. Hopping out of this one, Play Store. 3, 2, 1. And the Pixel 6a again was the faster one here. And kind of scrolling through, they're kind of giving the same exact thing too. Kind of swiping back up. Let's go and click on the first one. Let's click here. Actually, the Pixel 5, I don't know if that was from me clicking it by accident. Let's go and hop into the next one. Let's do camera. 3, 2, 1. It's tough to say which one was the faster one there. Let's go and take this night mode photo. Let's see which one is faster. And this is actually a pretty good test because it should, it's the same exact thing. Let's go and see which one is fast, kind of finished up first. And the Pixel 5 did take that night mode photo a little bit faster than the Pixel 6a. Let's go and click into the photo. Kind of the same thing, not that big of a deal, but the Pixel 5 did kind of beat it out there a little tiny bit. Now let's go and load into some of these applications. Let's go and do Facebook. 3, 2, 1. Pixel 6a was faster. Pixel 5 quite a bit behind. I don't know if this is due to the update that I made on the Pixel 5 with Android 13. Snapchat 3, 2, 1, but that is just one thing to keep in mind. Kind of the same thing here. Instagram 321. Pixel 6a again is a faster one. Pixel 5 kind of taking a little bit of time again, could be because it was maybe pre-installed or reinstalled on this device, could be, not 100% too sure. Dropbox 321. Again, another pop-up here, very, very annoying. Quizlet 321. I don't know why we're getting so many of these pop-ups on the Pixel 5. Temple Run 2, 321. But even we're kind of seeing, even loading into these initial panels, it is kind of giving you a faster experience on the Pixel 6a. Now, I do want to say on this one, you can see we did get into a downloading content panel here, so maybe we will give the benefit of the doubt, maybe to like an extra second or two. But even at that point, I still think something like the Pixel 6a probably would have been a little bit faster. So sync versus blocks, 3, 2, 1. And we're kind of seeing a reoccurring trend, at least in my opinion. We're kind of seeing that the Pixel 6a has consistently been faster than the Pixel 5. Now it's very strange because yesterday I tested the Pixel 5a against the Pixel 6a, and I kind of saw that the 6a was kind of keeping up with the Pixel 5a, but the Pixel 5a kind of beat the Pixel 6a as well, which is very strange. In this specific case, I don't know if there's a consistent winner. I think the Pixel 6a was probably, if I had to say one, was consistently faster than the Pixel 5, but I don't know if this is due to Android 13 because Android 13 is installed here and Android 12 is here. So keep that in mind. I will say there should theoretically be a little bit closer of a performance gap between these two, but for all intents and purposes, I feel like the Pixel 6a probably won in terms of that standpoint. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. In terms of the camera setups, they both have dual camera setups on the back. So like I mentioned before, there's a lot of similarities here. The Pixel 5 had a wide and an ultra-wide sensor, and the Pixel 6a also has a wide and an ultra-wide sensor as well. Now on the Pixel 5, 12.2 megapixel wide-angle lens with a 16 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. The Pixel 6a, 12.2 megapixel wide-angle lens with a 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. Both phones can do 4K 60 on the front, and both phones can only do 1080p on the back. Now with the Pixel 5's camera, I find it very interesting because both these phones are very, very similar. I don't really think one phone has a way better camera than the other one, and I don't really think you're going to notice that these phones are super crazy in the camera department until you really start looking at the Pixel 6 Pros. I think this camera is pretty good. It has the same issues as the other Pixels where it just takes so long to zoom in and zoom out. Video mode, we have an option, another optional modes panel here. I don't think one phone is, exceptionally better than the other one in terms of the camera, but I'll probably say the Pixel 5 camera is very good still. It's a very good priced phone for what it is. But I personally feel like with the Pixel 6a, for this phone costing $449 right now, it's actually a pretty good value. And I want to say that is actually a really good thing about this phone because the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro camera hopefully will be much better than the Pixel 6 cameras, which I also thought were pretty good. So when it comes down to these two cameras, I will probably say that the Pixel 6a maybe has the potential of being better just because it does have that native Google Tensor chipset, and looking at the future of both these phones, there's probably going to be more advancements in image processing going on with something like the Google Tensor chipset over the Snapdragon chipsets on the Pixel 5. So in terms of the camera department, that kind of covers it up there. I will also want to add with the battery life, between these two, you are getting a much bigger size, I wouldn't say much bigger size, but a bigger size battery on the Pixel 6a over the Pixel 5. The 5 had a 4080 mAh battery, the Pixel 6a has a 4410 mAh battery, so a little bit of a bigger battery size on the Pixel 6a, which is really nice. And this kind of brings us to the end of the video. And to be completely honest, when it comes down to both these phones, I kind of think that the Pixel 6a is probably the one I would recommend more people to buy. Although the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro are the better ones, I think, in my opinion. The Pixel 6a is still a very good phone, and it's only going to be getting better. It just came out, Google did send it to me. I don't know if I said in the beginning of the video, but Google did send this one out to me. I think they sent me out the Pixel 5 as well, which is very interesting, but I really do think that these phones are very solid options, and I think the Pixel 6a is a pretty good upgrade from the Pixel 5. But phones like the Galaxy S22 have also gone down in the used market a little bit too, and I feel like that phone is better than this one overall, so it may make a little bit more sense to go buy a Galaxy S22 or an S21 over this thing. I will make separate tutorials over those or separate comparisons, but with the Pixel 5, I still think this is a pretty good phone. It didn't really stand out in any way when it first came out, but we were really hoping Google wasn't going to make a bad phone. I think for its price tag and everything like that, I think that was a very solid option for Google to do. I do think when it comes down to these two, I would rather have a Pixel 6a than a 5, but the 5 is still a pretty good phone overall too, and you can't really go wrong if you want to pick up this one either, in my opinion. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.